Hi, welcome back to another episode of Stand on Guard with David Creighton. Thanks for joining me today. When we come back, the shocking truths that continue to emerge about the attempted assassination.
So we are in a very precarious position in this country. We need political change, but we also need the resolve to resist.
Yes, please ring that bell, that like bell, and join this program as much as you can. We appreciate your support any way you can. And if you think you subscribed, and make sure you have, because YouTube has a nasty habit of eliminating people who have subscribed to programs they don't like. And believe me, this is a program they don't like at times. So have a look, resubscribe if you want to. And I appreciate your support so much. We're going to be talking about an issue today, which I know is not in the usual purvey of the station. We try to do mostly Canadian news. That's my background. But of course, I've spent a lot of time in the U.S. reporting on U.S. news. And when I was in the military, I spent a lot of time at U.S. bases. So I'm very interested in what's going on with this attempted assassination of Donald Trump. It's fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating. And what is happening here is consequential, not just to the United States, but to Canada. Because if the deep state can get away with this, oh, I let it go, yes. If the deep state can get away with this in the US, the deep state can get away with this in Canada. And it's absolutely horrifying. Every day we get more details about how incompetent, how indifferent the United States Secret Service was to Donald Trump's safety. We get more details about how the deep state had to be involved to some degree for all of these coincidi to occur at the same time. It's just impossible to imagine that this just happened to be something that just folded as it was. But what really fascinates me is the fact that the senators and the congressmen this time are not taking the official word and saying nothing more. They're not just saying, okay, that's the way it is. You know why, though? It's because of people on the internet like you and I who are putting information out there. And that's the only reason I'm doing this today, is because this is for history. We are walking through history right now in the same way as people who lived through the assassination of John F. Kennedy and then the upheaval that occurred afterwards with Jack Ruby killing Lee Harvey Oswald, never having the answers. We can get the answers today because we have so many experts who have access to technology that didn't exist in 1963. And we have a social media system that didn't exist in 63. And it wasn't even imagined. So we're getting the answers far in advance of the official channels. We're getting answers far in advance of the FBI investigation, which really doesn't mean anything, does it? Because the FBI will cover its own ass now. We know that. Even people like me who were steeped in how wonderful the FBI was, who were raised in a military family, who served in the military, who served in uniform. I don't believe a word the FBI says anymore. I don't. And Donald Trump has said he believes Christopher Wray was involved in his attempted assassination. Christopher Wray, the director of the FBI. So I'm particularly impressed, though, with his testimony from yesterday with Josh Hawley, Senator Josh Hawley from Missouri, going after the new director of the Secret Service, Ronald Rowe. And he just absolutely eviscerates Rowe in this testimony. Because what's the problem here? Well, the problem is, even though we have seen the resignation of former Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle, there's still no problem. There's no problem here, Ronald Rowe suggests. Nobody's going to get fired. Well, not yet anyway, unless we find abrogation of the protocols unless somebody didn't go according to the protocols, which are clearly not adequate to save the life of people or to protect the life of the president. So unless somebody didn't go by the protocol, nobody's going to get fired. There's no accountability here. Let's watch this, and I'll interject as not very much, because I think this is a fantastic. I don't know if this senator was a previous district attorney, but he certainly is that effective.
Dead, that other Americans were critically wounded. Isn't that enough mission failure for you to say that the person who decided that building should not be in the security perimeter probably ought to be stepped down?
Senator, I think you're using the word decided, and I think we need to allow the investigation play out to include.
Who did make the decision then? If it wasn't the lead site agent, who made the decision not to put that in the security perimeter?
Senator, you're zeroing in on one particular agent. I want to find out exactly what was the entire decision process. So I think I want to be neutral and make sure that we get to the bottom of it and interview everybody in order to determine if there was more than one person who perhaps exercised bad judgment.
Well, sure. My question is, why don't you relieve everybody of duty who made bad judgment? So, yeah, you're right. I am zeroing in on somebody. I'm trying to find somebody who's accountable here. You're telling me that the person who made the decision not to include this in the perimeter has not been relieved of duty. What about the person who's in charge of the interoperability of radio frequencies between local law enforcement and Secret Service? Has that person been relieved of duty?
No, Senator, because interoperability is a challenge, is a greater challenge than just one person. On that day, we had a counterpart system. It failed
As the person who made the decision to send Donald Trump onto stage knowing that you had a security situation, has that person been relieved of duty?
No, sir, they haven't.
As the person who decided not to pull the former president off of stage when you knew that, in your words, the locals were working a serious security situation, has that person been relieved of duty?
No, sir. Again, I refer you back to my original answer that we are investigating this through a mission assurance. And as opposed to zeroing in on one,
what more do you need to investigate to know
exactly what the decision-making process was? What more do you need to investigate
to know that there were critical enough failures that some individuals ought to be held accountable? I mean, what more do you need to know?
What I need to know is exactly what happened, and I need my investigators to do their job. And I cannot.
A lot of people didn't do their jobs.
I cannot put my thumb on the scale. Otherwise,
what do you mean put your thumb on the scale?
You're asking me, Senator, to completely make a rush to judgment about somebody failing. I acknowledge this was a failure of the Secret Service.
Is it not prima facie that somebody has failed? A former president was shot.
Sir, this could have been our Texas school book depository. I have lost sleep over that for the last 17 days,
then
just like you have.
Somebody to hold them accountable.
I will tell you, Senator, that I will not rush to judgment, that people will be held accountable, and I will do so with integrity and not rush to judgment and put people unfairly persecuted.
Unfairly persecuted?
Unfairly,
people
sir.
Who are
we
dead.
have to be able to have a proper investigation into this, Senator.
You said earlier that you've got to make sure that your protocols are followed, and unless there's a protocol violation, people wouldn't be disciplined. I would just say to you, I don't really care that much about your protocols. I think if your protocols don't provide for the fact that when a former president is shot, when an American is killed, when other rally-goers, innocent people who just showed up on the day, when they are shot at and critically wounded, if that isn't a protocol violation prima facie, you should revise your protocols.
Perfect point here. And this is key. This is integral to this testimony, because this new director is saying if anybody violated the protocols and what we would call standard operating procedures, SOPs, we all know about those. Whether you're in the military or you have a private sector jobs, there are SOPs that have to be followed. So this director is saying if anyone violated the SOPs, well, we might consider firing them. We might consider relieving them of duty. But they are not going to question the validity, the efficacy of the SOPs. That's not the problem as far as this guy is concerned. And that's exactly what's wrong with this. Is it doesn't get at the Secret Service will not question their own flawed, inadequate SOPs, or as they say, their protocols. Nice word for it. People are going to say, oh, yeah, that sounds much better than SOPs, but they won't. question those. They won't admit that their SOPs are way beyond adequate or are way below adequate. They will not admit that.
Senator, I think this is where you and I agree. This was a failure, and we will get to the bottom of it.
Well, I hope you're going to do something about it. Let me ask you something else. The Real Clear Politics reports this morning that you were directly involved in denying additional security resources and personnel, including counter snipers, not just to this event, but over the last 2 years, that President Trump's team repeatedly asked for these additional resources, and you personally were involved in denying them. Is that true?
Senator, as I stated earlier, that is not true.
So you never denied any resources to former President Trump's team?
No, not me. No, sir.
And you weren't involved in any of that? You were never involved in the decision making?
No, sir, I was not.
Let me ask you just one or two other things here quickly. Well, whistleblowers tell me that, in fact, law enforcement were stationed to be on that roof and that law enforcement abandoned their post because it was too hot. Is that accurate?
Senator, I have heard that as well. Again, they posted up inside. And I think moving forward, as I said earlier, we're going to ensure that state and local counter snipers are on roofs.
But
hold it. What's he saying here? They went inside? Now, this is incredible. He's admitted they've gone from the roof to the inside. And so those people in the videos we've seen, all those people inside that building with a sniper on top of the roof, those were Secret Service agents hiding out. Incredible.
Do you know if someone was supposed to be on the roof? Do you know if someone was in fact? That's what the whistleblowers tells me. That may or may not be accurate. Do you know that to be the fact? Was somebody posted to the roof, local law enforcement or whomever?
I do not know that to be a fact.
Well, can I ask you why you don't know that?
Again, Senator, we are looking at this, and they should have been on that roof. And the fact that they were in the building is something that I'm still trying to understand.
I just want to express my frustration, Director, that 17 days or whatever it's been, that whistleblowers are telling us more than you are, and you don't know, you haven't ascertained if there was supposed to be law enforcement on the roof. That seems like a pretty basic fact. I'm also told that local law enforcement suppliers offered the Secret Service drones, and you declined them. Is that true?
So, Senator, one, I've been very transparent and forthcoming.
Your agency has not been transparent and forthcoming, so please, let's not go there.
I have been forthcoming, sir.
That remains to be seen. You've been on the job a few days. So far, you've fired nobody. Now, the drones.
Thank you,
Were
sir.
you offered drones?
Senator Hawley.
So there was an offer to fly a drone on that day.
And why did you deny it?
Again, I think the ability of local law enforcement to provide an asset, we probably should have taken them up on it if it was offered.
Incredible testimony. Just incredible. Once again, a director of the U.S. Secret Service enunciates, articulates the utter incompetence of his organization and is completely unapologetic about it. Shouldn't have happened. Don't know why it happened, but it did. And that's just the way things are. And yet a president was almost shot and killed. Former and hopefully future president was almost killed in this transaction. Incredible testimony. And this is the sort of thing we're getting day in, day out from these people who appear before Congress, whether it's the House of Representatives or the Senate in this case here. But incredible testimony because these people just don't seem to think anybody should be fired or held accountable for it, as they admit they were all hiding inside the building with a sniper on top of it, with a shooter on top of the roof. And what kind of people are looking after the former president's security? Can they be trusted? Can they even be given legitimacy? But you know what, folks? This might not be the end. There's a whistleblower out there saying there's going to be another attempt on former President Donald Trump's life. This is not the end. It's going to get worse. And this is a segment from my old friend from the Daily Caller. And this is absolutely fascinating. And very few people are capturing as much with the audience that he has here. So let's begin this.
Where Donald Trump will be killed. This is a whistleblower message from today. Get a load of this. Secret Service counter snipers sent an email Monday night to the entire uniformed division, not the agents, the leaders of the Secret Service, not speaking out until saying he will not stop speaking out until 5 high-level supervisors, one down, are either fired or removed from their current positions. The counter sniper also said the agency should expect another assassination attempt before November and complained that he is no longer proud to be a Secret Service sniper after leadership failed at the Trump rally. This agency needs to change, the letter writes. If not now, when? The next assassination? In 30 days? What does he know that we don't know? He's saying in 30 days, Donald Trump will be assassinated. Sadly, we have fallen short for years, the counter sniper lamented. We just look good doing it. I've conveyed these thoughts not only to my supervisors, but also to the training officers, only to be brushed off with those ideas, with those with less experience than me. The team I was once proud to be a part of, something I have continued, something now I have to hide as I moved on to the next chapter, the counter sniper continued. Who wants to hire a Secret Service counter sniper guy who failed? That's the public perception that I'm faced with. It's heart-wrenching. It's true. Is a stain I will not be able to cleanse. He continued with these 2 lines. The motto of the U.S. Secret Service, cover your ass. And every supervisor is doing that right now. The agency quickly deleted the email. A knowledgeable source told Real Clear Politics. Real Clear Politics is amazing. And Susan Crabtree is no crackpot. She's a great reporter. And so let's go ahead and have a look at this email. This is the email from the sniper saying effectively, we've exposed our inability to protect our leaders due to our leadership. The technicians who worked in Butler, Pennsylvania, did their job with their hands tied. Secret Service supervisors knew better, and the foot soldiers working made the best of a bad situation that resulted in civilian death, near miss of the protectee, and our technician shooting and killing the suspect. I know how many on the counter sniper teams, guys who sit on the roof and don't do much, but our responsibility and our mission is not about protecting an empty White House located at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. A little knock at Biden there. It's about preventing and stopping another JFK-style assassination, whatever city it may be. Sadly, for years, we have fallen short. We just got lucky. Wow.
As we go into the next segment there, just another reason why we're doing this is for history. It's because I know a lot of people watching the station aren't interested in American news, but you should be, because American news affects us in huge ways. And this could happen in Canada. And this is why it's important to acknowledge this. Now, Charlie Kirk coming up, senior contributor to Human Events. I am a Human Events columnist every week. I hope you read my last one here about the testimony from Kimberly Cheadle at the House Oversight Committee. It was shocking. It was absolutely shocking. And it revealed what a gong show the Biden administration has become. And I encourage you to read that. But
Charlie Kirk has this to say. We've hosted Donald Trump dozens of times, and they have since 2017. Donald Trump's spoken at tons of Turning Point events. We hosted him again on Friday, this past Friday, just this past week. All right, 3 days ago. This past weekend was the most lax I have ever seen the security with U.S. Secret Service. My entire staff and events team agrees. Nothing felt improved. If anything, security was more porous. Not noticeable improvement since Butler. Instead, it seemed that even more laid back. I've wrestled with whether or not to voice these concerns publicly. I don't want to inspire some crazy attempt at something evil, but after reviewing the text messages from the Butler SWAT and hearing the additional concerns from my friend Bongino, Eli Crane, Corey Mills, and many others, I felt the need to say something publicly. We must keep President Trump safe. If that's augmenting his detail with private security or sounding the alarm here, my firsthand experience confirms that not nearly enough has been done, and there's not nearly enough urgency. There are brave and honorable agents in the Secret Service. Trump legitimacy needs more manpower around him now. I hope something changes, says Charlie, to this post getting thousands of reposts. Let's go ahead and refresh here. Thousands of reposts, 10,000 likes, 500 comments. Wow. How can security be getting worse after what happened? This is why I decided to say something publicly. I have no idea, says Charlie.
How can security be getting worse unless they want this to happen again? I think it's quite clear what's going on here.
Incredible. President Trump himself insinuating that this might have been an inside job and that they're sad that he's not dead. It's amazing. President Trump just posted this on Truth Social, a retruth on Truth Social. What did Christopher Wray know, and when did he know it? Here's the full post that President Trump reposted. If you want to know who ordered the assassination of Donald Trump, retruth. Yikes. Holy moly. Well, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. The failures of your federal government laid bare.
So anyway, thanks for watching, folks. We put this material out there so you can see it, so you can judge for yourself, because I think this is relevant not just to American politics, but Canada's. I think it's relevant not just to what the Biden administration has been up to, but what the Trudeau administration continues to be up to. I think it's important we watch this, and it's history in the making. As we sit here, as we stand here, it's history in the making. This is about posterity. And I don't care if YouTube comes down and suppresses this as they have in the past. I have been suppressed 5 times now for showing any clips related to the Trump attempted assassination. Go ahead. We'll keep doing Canadian news as well. And I'll have more on that later. But I'm going to continue to follow this attempted assassination of President Donald Trump because I think it's important we keep our hands on this, our fingers on this, because my God, the more we know, the more we learn, the more it looks like not just incredible incompetence, but this was an inside job. Thanks for watching. We'll be back later today.